gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's December the 8th, 2022. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, presented today by Caneswear, your Cane shop for all your holiday needs, and by Life Wallet, where the time is now to take charge of your personal health. And Matt, today's big story had origins on the message boards at CaneSport.com. Our buddy Flipper, who's always a very animated poster for many, many years at CaneSport.com, threw out the subject of how would you prioritize Miami's needs this offseason as they head into the final days of recruiting and then, of course, navigate the transfer portal. And I read that post, and my initial thought was very, very simple. They need people. They need reinforcements at every position. There is not one on this football team that I would eliminate. You might be a little bit more skilled in that regard than I am, but I think they need help across the board, and it's almost impossible to prioritize one position over the other.
I'll take the extended silence to mean I'm now allowed to speak. So,
let's go, man.
First of all, Flipper 5. I do not like you. I do not like you at all. As a matter of fact,
Flipper.
I detest you, Flipper. And the reason I detest you is not because you're Flipper 5. I don't know about 4, 3, 2, 1, what you did to them. Okay, I'm not interested in that. What happened, and the reason I detest you, is I came up with a great idea yesterday morning. I called Gary. I said, "Hey, let me find a really good message board post. Let's sort of blow up the message boards a little bit, make it a front page story for the first time ever. Let's just pick one of the subjects and write a little, maybe do a little podcast on that subject." To which Gary responded, "Okay, and let's put a little story to go along with it," which is great. Perfect. It's not like I don't have anything to do. I don't have to call Cormani McLean's family coaches. I don't have to deal with Jakeem Jackson and his family and his coaches. There's nothing else for me to do except work on Flipper's little idea, right? I figured no big deal. When I brought up the idea to Gary, I figured I'll have plenty of time, to do the 5 or 10 minutes it takes to put this thing together. And then as I started to think about it, I realized this was a massive project. I mean, I literally, to do a good job on what Flipper spent, 30 words writing, to actually do what he was asking to be done, and which he wrote in his opinion just based on apparently no research whatsoever, Flipper 5. I guess his Flipper 1 through 4 must have done all the research for him, because he just put out the final analysis, 30 words. I had to look at who left at every position already, including seniors or whatever, who's returning at each position, analyze which of them are likely to come back or not likely to come back, then do an analysis at each position of based on this, based on who these guys are, based on what they've done, based on the recruits coming in that are committed, what has to happen in the portal to make this a better position this year? And then what about after this year? It's Flipper 5. It's an impossible question. Stop posting on the message board. I'm canceling. If I could cancel your membership, I would. I detest you, Flipper 5.
Well, you might detest him, but he did give you the fodder for our first installment of what we hope will be many, featuring our posters on the message boards. And
he murdered Flipper 1 through 4, and you're fine with him, Gary?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Not okay, bro.
I'm fine with it.
No, not okay.
But hopefully that'll be the first of what will be many features of those kinds. So, Matt, we went position by position and really dug deep, and who's staying, who's leaving, who might stay or leave. It's still in flux. Like, just because somebody's not in the transfer portal yet doesn't mean they won't be in the transfer portal. There's still a long way to go here on finishing up this roster and the different needs and plugging holes. And so we tried to go position by position and just talk about, why are you moving back and forth?
Does it look like one shoulder's higher than? Doesn't it look like this shoulder's higher or lower than that shoulder?
No, you're fine.
No, look at my shoulders. I think there's something wrong with me. Flipper 5. Not only did you destroy me mentally, You've apparently distorted my vertebrae, whatever. It's supposed to go straight up and down. Look what you did to me, Flipper 5. Look at me. I'm like at an angle. You don't see the angle, Gary?
No. Oh, wait. When you lean down, but you're leaning down.
I'm sitting straight up in my chair.
It looks pretty.
I thought it was the camera angle, but I keep every camera angle I have. I still have a massive vertebrae problem because of Flipper 5 making me sit in this chair for 3 hours researching a stupid story today.
Well, anyway, so we did attack it. Matt did some initial research. I jumped in there, and we ended up evaluating every position on the team, what we think will happen here in the coming days, how many players we think they will add at each position, and we think you'll enjoy it. So, and we do intend to take other message board topics moving forward and turn them into full-blown features because it was just like a cool thing to do.
No. Flipper 5, that's it. No more.
It was a very,
I'm
very
going to look like this if we keep doing these. I mean, all right, whatever.
But anyway, so the bulk of our content today and what's going on in the program obviously revolves around recruiting. And Matt, I think there's a legit concern that there could be some drama coming up here in the coming days and next couple weeks. We're seeing some little clues. Connor Lew maybe might be open to listening to other schools. We're not sure. He hasn't really kind of closed the door one way or the other. Maybe he's angling for more NIL deals. I don't really know what his motivation would be. He's been committed for many, many months. But when Stephen Wagner interviewed him, he decided not to take the opportunity to say that the door is totally shut. What he said was that he's not looking to decommit from Miami, but that he expects that other schools are going to be coming hard at him here down the stretch. Now, what the heck does that mean? You decode that.
It's easy to tell which guys are going to have drama. All you have to do is look at their bio pictures on On3. And if you look at Malik Bryant and Connor Lew, they're the ones that look the unhappiest. They're like this. They just look unhappy, And that's really as good an indication as anything for what's going to happen because you can read. They say read the tea leaves. I mean, if you're going to read the tea leaves, you may as well just look at their bio pictures and try to figure out who doesn't look happy. The truth is, neither of them look very happy. They're probably the two unhappiest pictures. I don't know if they're passport pictures, whatever you with those little bios. If you go to the commitment page right now, they're definitely. If you just don't know any of them, you just look at the pictures, go down the list of the 22 guys, and you say who are the two unhappiest looking guys? It's Connor Lew and Malik Bryant. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Now, with that said, does that mean they're going to flip? Yes, it does. Yeah, for sure. Now, nobody knows what's going to happen with anybody. NIL is a whole new game. Like I said previously, any of these recruits can get a call to their agent / they call them lawyers at this point because they can't have an agent, but they really are agents. The night before signing day, we got a company who's ready to sign X player for $800,000, $8 billion. It doesn't matter if it's way more than what Miami's, apparently what they think they're going to get for these the top ones already know what they're getting. I mean, let's face it, they're not supposed to, but they do. It's a problem. So I don't even know. Like I can talk to people around the program. I can talk to people around the high schools. I could talk to family members. It used to mean something. It used to make me feel better that 95% of the class I would feel pretty good about sticking. And I do still feel that way about this class. But then when you start thinking about NIL, you start thinking, well, it could change in a second. And the truth is, even early enrollees can leave after spring ball. It doesn't even matter anymore. The NCAA has managed to somehow take what was a great signing day in February where people would take off from work and be excited. And it was a celebration of the program you love. It was a celebration. They managed to somehow turn it into a December event in the middle of bowl preparations when people aren't really excited about recruiting because you're just finishing your season. You're getting excited for a bowl game, hypothetically. It just never seemed to work. And then you would have 2 signing days. So it was like only half the excitement. And now somehow they've managed to make it even worse which is no matter who you sign, even if you get the top class in the country, at a moment's notice, 4 or 5 months later, half the class could leave if they want to. If it used to be that the coaching staff shakeups would happen after signing day, because once a student athlete has signed, you own him. There was, I remember, I'll never forget with CJ, Curtis Johnson was the receivers coach, and when Kellen Winslow Jr. first came in, he came in as a receiver from California, and they recorded this guy like he was the next coming of whatever, and like treated him like he was the greatest player ever. The day he got on campus, okay, that first practice we saw him, CJ was merciless. Screaming at him in front of us.
Break him down, man.
Berating him in front of us. You're lazy. You're not good enough. You're never going to make it here. Screaming, putting him in the sandpit as punishment. I mean, because let's face it, 4 and 5 stars come in with this aura that I'm the best. You know, I don't have to work as hard as you. I'm better than you.
Got to be
and
broken
now
down.
Coaches can't do what CJ did. Now coaches have to cater to these student athletes who are making more money than they are in many cases if they're really, really good. And you can't tell them what to do anymore. It's a disaster from signing day not mattering anymore to even if you think it matters, those guys can leave at a moment's notice, to coaches having to almost be babysitters and tell everybody they're great now in this new modern era where, God forbid, you tell somebody he sucks. You can't do that. God forbid you tell somebody he sucks. I mean, it would be national news the next day. This coach berated that student athlete and made him need therapy, like that coach is fired the next day if that happens. It's like, to me, it's crazy. It used to be 2 days. It used to be, you broke your leg, you better play with it. Now it's like, you yelled at me, I'm leaving, I'm going to Florida State. I shouldn't say Florida State because that's not what Darryl Jackson had happened. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can go wherever you want if you're not happy because you got yelled at. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, we're not going to lie. I mean, we've expected some drama. We thought it might come from Malik Bryant. So far, that camp's been quiet. Got to get through the next 2 weeks there. We thought there might be some drama with Cormani McClain, and sure enough, T-Rob, who's now coaching at Alabama, shows up at Lakeland High, I guess Monday, and starts trying to talk Cormani McClain into visiting Alabama this weekend. But now Alabama's trying to see if they can get him up for one day on Friday or something along those lines. Right now, it does not look like that will happen, but you do never know. This is recruiting, so we'll see there. But Matt, never Connor Lew. I never thought we would see drama with Connor Lew, and maybe there is no drama with Connor Lew, but it's just weird, that he dropped this little nugget on Stephen Wagner and then kind of drifted off into the sunset. And I said to Steve, I said, Stephen, you got to confirm with him that he really means what he's kind of insinuating here. And we've been trying, we can't reach him. And so we just went, put the story up. We kind of, massaged it, and you'll see it's on the website this morning. You guys will enjoy it. But there could be a little drama there. I don't know if it's Georgia drama or who it might be, but it was pretty obvious that Connor Lew's expecting somebody of prominence to come in at the late hour here in recruiting and make a run for him. So we'll see what happens on that front. So as all the goings on continue in college football, we do have our portal tracker that we update daily. So make sure that you check that out, and you will be able to stay on top of everything that's going on in the portal. And yes, like I said, that Connor Lew feature is on the website. All right, we have several more, a couple more things to talk about today. But first, let's hear from our friends at LifeWallet.
I'm Angela Green, and I am LifeWallet.
Since I've had LifeWallet, I have felt more secure to play.
To protect you and your family, download LifeWallet now.
And there's a few more weeks of holiday shopping ahead. So if you need to buy some stuff for your spouse, you want your spouse to buy something for you, you have friends that are either Canes fans or you want to make them Canes fans, Caneswear is your holiday destination for all your Canes needs. Let's hear from Caneswear.
Welcome to Caneswear. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has all latest merchandise for the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Inter Miami Soccer, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of I-595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
All right, Matt, another, I guess you could say there's a little drama in this one, is in Miami's pursuit of linebacker Stanquan Clark. With the coaching shakeup at Louisville, where he's committed, does that create an opening for Miami? And the interesting thing in this story, Matt, was he didn't necessarily take the bait on that and say, absolutely, I'm going to Miami. And so, that's an interesting story that is evolving here in the final days of recruiting. What will Stanquan Clark do here as signing day approaches? And Louisville, I mean, I saw their coaching prospect list. I was looking at it yesterday, Matt, and it's not too sexy, man. Like, I don't know that I'm feeling this whole Stanquan Clark to Louisville thing. And I know we've been talking about it for a few days now, and man, I'll be really surprised if he doesn't choose to be a Miami Hurricane.
Makes sense for him to be a Miami Hurricane. The only reason he wouldn't be is if he's, like we talked about yesterday, just upset that Miami wasn't recruiting him hard at one point. If he can get over that, then yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be.
All right, and then another one we must talk about is Jakeem Jackson. He's a Florida Gators commit, and he's supposed to visit Florida this weekend, but Miami has found a way to slide in there a little bit. And while Florida's going to be looking to solidify that this weekend, I'm not so sure that's going to happen, Matt. I think Miami is going to get him to campus the following weekend for a visit, and then he's going to decide.
Yeah, I think there's a sneaky good chance with Jakeem. Again, a lot of this is NIL related. I know fans don't want to hear it or whatever, but the ship has definitely not sailed with Jakeem at all. Regardless of him, I guess it would have to be an unofficial visit if he came the final weekend when all the main recruits are coming. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of guys that are really still in play. I mean, you can go down the list, but there's just a lot of different guys that Miami's still in the game with that they're trying to get. So it's going to be a really interesting close. I know they're trying to get most of them to come either unofficially or officially that final weekend. And, I think it certainly can happen. And it's going to be really interesting to see who they actually do get to take official visits, to come down for that weekend, because that'll tell you a lot. Because getting these guys on campus for that last weekend is just absolutely, like, you can't overstate how that can impact things. These student athletes are very impressionable. They're young men. And if they have the best time ever and they feel at home and they love it, it doesn't matter where they're committed to or what's happening. They can flip to Miami in a heartbeat. The perception could be going into Friday that, there's no chance. If they get on campus and have a great time, there's every chance that they can wind up a Miami Hurricane.
Yeah, so they're going to have a few visits this weekend. We'll talk about the list later as the week goes on. But the weekend of the 16th, next weekend, they are loading up, and that's going to be the big recruiting weekend.
I mean, this weekend, I think Christopher Johnson is probably going to come. I think probably with Antoine Jackson, they're buddies. So yeah, this weekend's also important, not as important, and I think who is it? Dalen Austin's also coming this weekend, and they're still finalizing some other stuff. So there'll be a handful of guys at least, I think, this weekend. But the 16th is the weekend. That's when they want guys to come for good reason. You don't want to waste. Guys can come this weekend, great, but they can also go somewhere else the final weekend, right? And that's really the the long lasting, the lasting effect is the last visit. That's what you remember is last. It's like if you have a great meal and then for dessert they bring you out seaweed ice cream and it's awful. That hasn't happened to me because I wouldn't have seaweed ice cream, but Gary probably would. And if they bring out the seaweed ice cream, you would go back and tell people, "Don't. That place was awful. I'm never going back there, even if the meal was great." Because all you remember is the last thing that happened.
I promise you that is true. If somebody's feeding me seaweed ice cream, I'm out, man.
You don't want seaweed ice cream?
Oh,
I just came up with that. I think that might be actually really good because you balance out the unhealthiness of ice cream with the healthiness of seaweed.
okay.
That speaks for itself.
And you know that seaweed is healthy?
I'm assuming it's healthy, isn't it? Isn't it like it's basically like eating grass that's floating in the sea?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to spinach. Okay.
Have you ever eaten? By the way, have you ever eaten jellyfish?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
nor do I have an intention of ever doing it.
Let me tell you something. Jellyfish is one of those few foods when you eat it and you've never eaten it before, you say, "Yeah, that tastes like jellyfish." One of the rare foods where that's the case. When it's the first time you ever eat it. You eat venison for the first time, you're not like, "Oh yeah, that's what I think deer would taste like."
No, venison I've eaten. I've eaten goat too. You ever eat goat?
Have I eaten goat? I would have to say not to my knowledge. No,
I've eaten goat. It's kind of they're all very similar. I mean, it's similar to veal or whatever.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the weirdest foods I've ever eaten. I don't know. I think I've had crickets and like venison. Obviously, I think I had pigeon once, but just a taste of it. I was in France. When you're in France, you have to eat pigeon because you're trying to support the local municipality, and they're trying to get the pigeons off the streets, man. The best way to get them off the streets is to feed them to tourists, to dumb tourists who will actually try to order the pigeon dish and eat it. Because I guarantee you the locals do not order the pigeon and they laugh at all the tourists who eat it. It's like that nutria. Nutria are these giant rats that are up in New Orleans, right? And the way they're trying to, it's sort of like with the lionfish down here. The way they're trying to control the population of nutria is by turning it into food dishes. So these celebrity chefs up in the Louisiana area, a few years ago, come up with these nutria dishes to try and get people to eat nutria, so that it'll be in the best interest of people to start slaughtering these giant rats wandering around the marshlands and eating them instead of having them devouring everything in their natural environment.
Yeah, that I would not do. Now, I never would have thought of eating goat, but I was in Chicago. And somebody took me to a restaurant, The Girl and the Goat. So I figured if I'm going to go to dinner at The Girl and the Goat and I'm being entertained, I had to go along and eat goat. So I did. And it was fine. But no, I'm not eating any of that other stuff. All right, so that's going to do it.
Hold on. You want to know something funny?
What?
If you want to go, you can go. I'll just talk to everyone. Nobody needs you here for this story. So I love stone crabbing. And you can go lobstering too.
I'm going to rename the show Matt Shodell and Friends.
And I love lobster, okay? But this is true, okay? Back in the day, lobster was so bountiful in the area waters off Louisiana that it was considered a poor man's food. And they actually went on strike. The local workers went on strike that they did not want to be fed lobster more than 3 times a week. Because, apparently that's how much lobster they had. And I guess you get sick of eating too much lobster.
Wow. I will never get sick of eating too much lobster or stone crabs, caught by you or not caught by you. Love them both. All right, that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank you so much for starting out your morning with us. I hope you enjoy that new feature on the website this morning, looking at the needs of the team through the eyes of Matt Shodell and myself. If you like this show, you like the content that's on our YouTube channel, hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. It helps us with the algorithms at YouTube. And if you are not yet a CaneSport.com subscriber, please make sure you jump on board with us. We got the $10 introductory special that takes you all the way to the start of next football season.
I have one more. I just want to say, Flipper, I am good with you, okay? I have no animosity towards Flipper as long as you're Flipper 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I just want to make that clear. No animosity whatsoever against Flipper 1 through 4. I just want to say that because I feel bad now.
Is that it?
Yeah, I just wanted to apologize because, I may have said some hurtful things to the Flipper family, and while Flipper 5 is still like on my naughty list, the other 4 are on my nice list. They will be getting Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas gifts from me.
Awesome. Am I getting something?
No.
I'm not getting anything?
What do you want?
I don't know.
I am going
stone
stone
crab, maybe?
I already told you, no commitments between 3:30 and 6:30 today. I'm going stone crabbing. So if you want to come down, I'll give you some stone crabs.
I'm not getting on that boat with you for sure.
I'll give you. If you want to come to the house at like 7 o'clock, I'll give you some fresh stone crabs.
I may take you up on that. All right, let me get you guys out of here for real this time. For Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.